Through the ages, artists have been involved in making civic buildings great, and they become a source of community pride. And so the idea was that governments at all levels could work with artists to make buildings great, and that spirit persists to this day.
Art to me is educational. Art to me is a wonderful visual experience. Art to me enriches an area that I'm a part of at that given time. And in the case of Greater Miami, I'm on a permanent basis here.
Arts in general, I think, are very important to a community, and I think Miami and its environs, now Miami-Dade, has gained an international luster because of the art that we foster.
The Art in Public Places program has resulted in the acquisition and commissioning of more than 700 pieces of public artwork throughout the county, including libraries, metro rail stations, and parks.
It's funded through an ordinance that was passed in 1973, taking 1.5% of the cost of a construction project and devoting that to art in public places.
Miami-Dade County Art in Public Places dedicates 15% of the 1.5% generated by all new public art allocations to a repair and restoration fund that is used for specialized tasks required to restore and/or repair works of art in its collection. These funds are replenished on an ongoing basis with proceeds from new commissions. Art in Public Places is implementing several projects related to the care and preservation of the collection. Former County Commissioner Ruth Shack witnessed the creation of the Art in Public Places program back in 1973.
The story that I have heard is when the then Mayor Jack Orr went to Hawaii on vacation. He found this extraordinary program where a percentage of all public buildings went to art in the building. And he came back with the program and established it here in Miami-Dade. And I was invited to serve on the first committee to choose the art.
A 15-member Art in Public Places Trust was established to oversee the program. Its volunteer members are appointed by the Miami-Dade County Commission. The trust appoints a Professional Advisory Committee, or PAC, of art experts, who advise the trust about art acquisitions and commissions. The Department of Cultural Affairs staff works with the trust and PAC to facilitate their work. Staff also works with the selected artists and key project stakeholders to ensure that the result is great art that contributes to making great public spaces.
The Orange Peels are my favorite one because they're downtown and they're the work of two great artists. She has since passed away.
And the sculpture creates the snapshot instant of the impact together with the water effects, which give you a feeling of a splash and the sound of impact.
I think one of the great eye-catching things is Krebs' work on metro rail, which was unveiled in the early to mid-'80s.
And Rockne, at the time, when technology wasn't as advanced as it is today, proposed neon for the metro rail bridge. And no one at the time realized that the trains going over the bridge would create such vibration that the neon would break periodically. So we talked to Rockne and convinced him to let us try to recreate the work in LED. A much more durable, stable light form that could actually completely replicate the effect of neon.
So, how does an artist get commissioned by Miami-Dade County? First, an open call is put out into the art world.
They do several calls. They do some calls that are open to international, and they do a call that's specifically to local artists. I submitted my work. I was a finalist who was asked to do a proposal, and my proposal was chosen. Every artist would love to have a commission.
The inspiration behind this piece?
The inspiration, actually, the history of the fire department. This work behind me features photographs of Pine Rockland areas in the west part of the county.
I've always challenged myself to think, like, what would be an interesting public artwork today? You know, like, how would I approach it? If I'm going to be all critical about these big, ugly steel sculptures, like, what do I have to offer, you know? So I've been thinking about it for a while, and it's been good to, like, get opportunities to work within, you know, my hometown, in Port of Miami, for example, working with Coral Morphologic, which is a science and arts endeavor run by Colin Ford and Jared McKay. We collaborated on identifying the species of living corallimorphs that inhabit the port of Miami. And so we blew those images up because they're really tiny, incredible creatures. And we didn't alter any of the colors that are inherent to them. We just blew them up. And we wrapped 18 parking booths with 18 individual corallimorphs. So that was awesome. It just turned this booth, you know, the people that you pay to go in and park, that like little booth. We just transformed them into from these blue faded shells into this like living work of art.
And we decided that we would take the 1,100 bollards. These are the big concrete posts that come up to protect the pedestrians on the sidewalk from cars running into them. Typically, they're these ugly yellowish looking things. Miami artist Jim Drain proposed making all the bollards into sort of maritime-oriented colors, like for maritime flags. And so we have this festive 1,100 bollards at the seaport now that Jim has transformed from these ugly sort of like barriers into actually like a festival of colors.
This Arcola project took almost 2 years to complete. I didn't think it was going to take that long. The opportunity to work outdoors and at that scale was something that I've never really done before, so I think on that kind of front, I think it's good. I'd like to think that some kid's gonna look at that piece and just somehow be inspired in a positive sense, whatever that might mean. Ultimately, that's what it's there for the young minds to kind of maybe see things that they won't necessarily see anywhere else. I learned a lot. The end project, I think it's almost identical to what I presented. And this is like, I mean, it was all chaos. I mean, it's just like, you know, you pour the stuff and it just goes wherever you want it to go. There's no way to control it.
I was approached by Art in Public Places back in 2004. They were particularly looking for an artist who had already been depicting golf courses in their works. They brought me to the construction site back then, and we were kind of taking into account what kind of work would be good for a place like this because it's exposed to the elements. I put together a proposal and it was presented to the Art in Public Places committee. It was approved, and so after that I started working on the actual piece. I came one day and I took millions and millions of photographs of every single corner of Crandon Park Golf Course. Then, based on those photographs, I created around 90 or 100 paintings, individual paintings on canvas. Those paintings were scanned, and each scanned image was then transferred onto a glass tile through a process that is called sublimation, where an image is heated up to a point that the ink goes through the glass tile and the image rests inside the glass tile. Doing projects for Art in Public Places is an amazing opportunity for artists. It's a kind of validation. The fact that the county is commissioning you as an artist to create a piece that will be in a building for many, many years is an amazing compliment.
It's being open, perhaps, you know, and it's an algorithm in a sense. It's a wave, you know. Sometimes you're wide open, sometimes you're narrow. I mean, I think the art can be that way. Sometimes it's very specific, it's very poignant. It's like, I need to say this, like, bam, this has to get out of me, like, right now.
Art can be so many things, but it's not the thing, is what I'm getting at. Art is not a thing. Art is an experience. It's a transformation that happens when you encounter something that has given form to a formless reality.
Art is this thing that exists in a way that reflects our existence on this planet.
Art is different for different people. For me, it's magic, it's alchemy, it's a way of transcending the material realm.
For me in my life, I mean, it's just, it's my life. Art is my life.